first C++ tutorial. Today we're going to focus on Hello World, and that's standard with any language. Everything you first learn is Hello World. So let's get started. I am working in Microsoft Visual Studio Express 2012. You can do whatever you want, code blocks, anything. It doesn't really matter. Okay, but let's get started. First we want to open a new project. And it has to be a Windows 32 console application. And we're just going to name this. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it Testing C++. Click OK. Okay, then we're going to click Next. And what we want to do is we want to do an empty project. The reason for this is because we don't want any precompiled headers, anything like that. We just want an empty project so we can learn the basics. Okay, just click Finish and let that load. Okay, now you're going to come up with a blank screen. It's okay, don't freak out. All you have to do is go up to Project, Add, my bad, that's not right. Project, Add New Item. And we're going to do a C++ file, and we're going to name it main.cpp. The reason for this is because every C++ program has a main CPP. It's where all our code goes. It's basically where everything comes together. So we're just going to add main CPP, and you should be left with this. Okay, the first thing we're going to do always is we're going to include our header files, which this one is going to be iostream. So always want to do a hashtag, include, and then in your little brackets, or whatever you call these, you're going to put iostream. So let me explain a little bit better. We are including iostream, which is a function, and we're including it in our program. Next, we want to do using namespace standard, which is std, using namespace std. Okay, the reason for using namespace std is so we don't really always have to do std cout and then type our code. It's just it makes coding slower, and with C++ programming, you're going to be programming so much. Like when you become a game developer or whatever you're trying to do with C++, you're going to be coding a lot, and it's not always good to be slower. But besides that, I didn't explain to you guys this. After every one of your code, you always are gonna have one of these. Like let's say cout, blah 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 blah. You always have to add a whatever this thing is, but you always have to have it. I don't exactly know what it's called, but you always have to have it. Okay, let's go into our coding. Okay, first off, we have to do int main, because there's always going to be a main. In every one of your programs that you're ever going to make, there's going to be a main function. What this is a main. Integer main. Int is short for integer. And it's just the whole deal right here. Inside your brackets, which this is a basic function right here. Some code goes here, and this is pretty much a function. But main function is where everything gets executed, like all your code comes together and it gets executed from main. Now, let's code. Cout, which is basically outputting text on screen. And you always want to do these little brackets pointing towards cout because information is flowing towards output. And everything that you type here, like anything, has to be put in quotations. And then you can inline. And again, we have this. We always have to have this at every one of our stuff. Besides our functions. Like you're not going to put one right here. It would just mess up the whole function. It doesn't work like that because functions have code inside of them. Okay, and basically what we did here is we outputted a whole bunch of random text on the screen, and we're going to inline. End-L means inline. You don't have to do this part, but it's just the flow is just more there when you do indel. You could, besides ending line like that, you could end line with a /end. It's the same thing, it does the exact same thing. It's just whatever you prefer, your coding style, whatever. I like putting indel. What comes after this is you're going to want to do a system pause, because you're not going to want the code to, when you run this, it's just going to disappear. If you don't have system pause, your code's just going to pop up and disappear. For example, if you don't have it, it's just going to run and disappear, just like that. So we always want to have a system pause when we're working with the command prompt. And there's another fancy little semicolon thingy. Now, in C#, people get used to doing this, return 0, because it's just, you don't have to do this in C++. You only have to do it in C#. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's just whatever you prefer, whatever floats your boat. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to have it, but it's there if you want it. So basically, I explained to you the include, and we're including our header. We're using namespace standard. We're including a function, which is all this right here. Inside of our function, we couted random text, we ended the line, and we system pause the command prompt. Very simple, easy, and simple. Now I want to explain to you why my C++ tutorials are different. The reason why my C++ tutorials are different are because I will be giving homework out for tutorials and stuff. Like, say on my third video, I want you guys to build a command prompt application that can output the stock market on the screen. It helps you learn. It's not because I want to give you guys homework because I want to be a teacher. It's because I want to help you guys learn C++. And the best way to do that is with homework, because you learn something and I keep teaching you and teaching you, put like 50 videos up of teaching you C++. Well, you're going to forget some of those videos. So I want to go over things that are very important, which is why I want to give you homework, because it helps. Now, in my next video, I will be covering, I have no idea what I'm going to be covering, but probably more with functions and simple integers and variables and stuff like that. But just keeping this video short, sweet, hello world. Well, we didn't really do hello world, but there's hello world. But it's just basically, I'm teaching you guys the best I can and hoping you guys understand it and it is not too hard. Alright, my next video, variables and functions.